Guys, if you want to support these projects in the future, please head over to Mulliganbrothers.com, where you can now buy the Inspire Change t-shirts and much more. And also hit the join button down below for exclusive membership benefits. But before that, let's jump into the highlight. Going back to early days when you were growing up, council estate, if you were to describe that, we have a large American audience. What's the council estate? What was it like growing up?
Yeah, so I grew up on a housing estate, which is, in a cul-de-sac down at the end of a road, which is probably how the majority of people are actually brought up in the UK, working class. And, I had a very outdoor lifestyle. I was born near Glasgow, but live on the west coast of Scotland, so down, near the sea, just across from Northern Ireland. So my upbringing was, as far as I know, fairly standard and normal in the UK.
Scouts early on, I think, was like in the book. So I've got one chapter left of this book. Unbelievable, like well done with it. It's amazing. But yeah, early on, it talked about shaping who you were. Scouts was like a massive thing at that point. Again, like, what's the Scouts like, and how did it shape yourself?
So when I was very young, I joined the Beavers, which is like Beavers Cub Scouts, like Boy Scouts in America, Boy Scouts of America, but it's all one organisation. And it was joining them at a very young age which gave me a glimpse into the outdoors and how you can not just survive but thrive outdoors. And so my twin and I spent years, before I joined the Marines, we spent years going away camping, hiking, learning how to navigate, how to live off the land. And so for me, the Boy Scouts were like a fundamental part of my childhood and growing up. And fast forward from there 10, 15 years, I'm then, an elite Royal Marine Commando sniper operating in the Middle East. Using the skills that I learned in the Scouts as a boy. And if you look back to the Scouts, they were formed, Lord Baden-Powell. It was military instructors. It was, a way of training people in the military ways.
So did you, as a child then, doing the Scouts early on with your twin brother, did you always know that you was going to take the path into the military, or was there a gap in between, something that made you decide?
No, so I was not academic at all at school. The Scouts helped me get outdoors and stay outdoors. I didn't play computer games. I wasn't an indoor kid. And the more that you did that, the more that I did that, the more I realised I didn't want to have a normal job. And so I got to the point where I was looking at what jobs I could do and would want to do in the military. It seemed to offer this lifestyle of being outside, adventurous, boy's own sort of adventure, and that's what I was in the Scouts for, that's what I was in the Cadets for. And so I went to the careers office up in Glasgow, and you've got like the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, and I went into the naval one, and there was a Marine in there, Royal Marine in there, Commando, and he basically said, look, there's no point going to the rest of them, we're the best. But I did do my own due diligence and went down and checked the rest of them out, but that was like the first time, and I reckon I was 14 when I went there to see which one I wanted to join. And then for the next 2 years I was like focused, I was joining the Marines regardless of what my parents thought and regardless of what anyone thought. That's exactly what I was going to do.
And there's a story of when you, the Green Beret, I can't remember where it was, but the seduction of it brought you in even more to it.
The Green Beret, or the Green Beret, you might say in America. The Green Beret is like the coveted headdress of the Royal Marine Commandos. It's renowned and revered throughout the world. And the first time I actually saw one was at a cadet camp, an air cadet camp up in Scotland, North Scotland, and this helicopter pilot sort of swaggered to the front of the queue that I was in, and he put it down on the desk. He was buying something, and I remember just seeing it and just being like, that looks beautiful, like the black anodized Globe and Laurel badge on it and the green beret, and like I just thought that's what I'm going to have, basically.
So what was the process of training like? I mean, for yourself, was it a bit of a shock, or did it meet expectations?
Because I wanted to join the Marines from like 13 or 14, by the time it came to joining up, like I knew inside out what training was, what was happening in what week, and the only bit that I didn't know was whether my body would be physically strong enough to complete it. You know, my head game was good. I knew that's what I wanted to do. And it's the longest infantry training in the world. It's 30 odd weeks. So it's quite a long time, and it's very intense. You know, there's hardly any days off through the whole process. And every week is like a culling phase, you know, getting rid of dead wood in the troop. So out of maybe 50 people that join, 50 men that join, then at the end of it there might be 7 or 8 that finish it. And so joining at 16, my bones weren't fully developed, and my body wasn't fully developed. I was essentially still a boy. But yeah, I found it was tough, but I knew that it was going to be tough, and I knew that wouldn't last forever. You know, there wouldn't be people staying in the Marines for 10, 15, 20 years if it was as hard as it was every single day in training. You just couldn't last that long. So it was the first part of my life where I started to realize that you can literally become what you think about. You can have what you want as long as you know what it is that you want. And I think a lot of my friends at school, they just didn't know what they wanted to do. You know, they're going to prolong it a bit more, do A levels or higher, and then they go to university, still don't really know what they want to do, choose a course that they're not that interested in, come out 23, 24, still not know what they're going to do, dodge around a few jobs. You know, by the time I was 26, I'd done 10 years as an elite soldier. You know, I just shortcutted that whole 10 years of messing around by knowing exactly what it was that I wanted to do, and then breaking that down. And that's really, you know, my life up till now has been based on those fundamental points of, you know, you can have anything and be anything and do anything that you want. You just have to know what that thing is.
I mean, that's so important as well, and I think for some reason it's not instilled in people. Like, I think we can work hard, but work hard towards nothing. And like having a goal, we can get there. And it might not even be the right place you want to arrive at, but you will find you get progress, and sometimes looking back, the dots connect as well. You say as a 16-year-old going, you know, into this training with men, fully grown men, how much of it was physical and how much of it was mental?
Yeah, I suppose that, you know, the Royal Marines training is hard physically. You get smashed every day, you know, relentlessly for the entire time that you're there. But as a young man, you're fairly robust, you're fairly resilient to that sort of training. If your mindset is good, you know, of 50 people that start, let's say 10 finish, not all of those 40 that don't make it have physical injuries. You know, the majority of those probably just don't have the minerals to finish the course. And that's because, you know, there's a big lesson there in anything that you do. If the why isn't big enough, then you'll never have the drive, the determination to get out of bed early and finish that thing. And so let's say I just say, I'm going to join the Marines, there's nothing else going on, like my apprenticeship's finished, and you get down there and you're in week 10 and you're getting smashed. And you're, you know, cold, wet, hungry, tired, then it's very easy to just stick your hand up and say, I'm sacking it off. Whereas if that's all you've wanted to do, and that is your end state, is to get there, then, like for me, in those hard times, I was in my absolute element. I was living my dream. It's hard to explain it, but I had this, like, the fire inside my stomach that I was doing the thing that I wanted to do, and it was such an amazing feeling, and I feel lucky that I found that early on, because it shaped the rest of my life. You know, my time in the Marines was 10 years, which was quite a short period of time in comparison to lots of other people who might do 22 years as the longest. My twin did 16 years. But, you know, for me, what I took away from that was not all the hardcore skills of being able to shoot from a long distance and being able to run miles and miles and not feel tired. What I took away from it was the soft skills and they call it the commando spirit, and that's courage, determination, unselfishness, and cheerfulness in the face of adversity. Now those 4 things, if you can employ them and put them into everything that you do, then anything is possible. Like I said earlier, you know, if the why isn't big enough or strong enough, then you'll never get out of bed in the morning. You'll never, you know, get up when things are hard. But with courage, determination, unselfishness, cheerfulness in the face of adversity, which is like the commando spirit, you can almost achieve anything. Anything. They should have a lesson in school that's like, you know, once a year, 1 hour, and then they just go through that.
If you enjoyed the project, guys, none of this is possible without your support at Mulliganbrothers.com, and using that join button down below, you can buy the t-shirts that help support these projects. We take our film crew with us all the way around the world to find the best and inspirational teachers, stories, and without you, it's just not possible. So thank you so much to everybody who's done that so far. And if you are doing that, please hit us up on Instagram and let us know. Say hello at Jordan Mulligan Brother. I will get back to you, and all the support is appreciated. Have a blessed and productive day. The whole team just wants to say thank you, and yeah, go inspire some change, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.